colleagues, my name is Senator Ezenwa Onyewuchi, and I represent Imo East Senatorial District of Imo State. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on this very important bill titled the Older Persons' Rights and Privileges Bill 2019. This bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on the 7th of November 2019. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill seeks to provide certain rights and privileges for older persons in order to ensure health and economic reliefs and protection for their social and civil rights. Elderly or older persons are generally defined according to a range of characteristics including chronological age, change in social role, and changes in functional abilities. Most developed countries of the world have accepted the chronological age of 65 as a definition of elderly or older persons. While this definition is somewhat arbitrary.
Point of order, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I would like to come under Order 13 and move a motion for the Senate to recede beyond the normal sitting times of 2 o'clock. I so move, Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do stay beyond the regular 2 p.m., say aye. Those against saying the ayes have it. We continue.
Thank you, Mr. President. Elderly or older persons are generally defined according to a range of characteristics including chronological age, change in social role, and changes in functional abilities. Most developed countries of the world have accepted the chronological age of 65 as a definition of elderly or older persons. While this definition is somewhat arbitrary, it is many times associated with the age at which one can receive pension benefits. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the fast-growing number of older persons during the last few decades have impacted significantly on the political, economic, and social functions of society in both industrialized and developing regions. According to the Population Division of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, the proportion of older persons aged 60 years and above make up 12.3% of the global population, and by 2050, that proportion will rise to almost 22%. Like any other country in the sub-Saharan African, Nigerians' elderly too is increasing rapidly. In Nigeria, those aged 65 and above make up 3.1% or 5.9 million of the total population of 191 million, which in simple numbers represent increase of 600,000 during the 5-year period 2012 to 2017. Some of the challenges facing the elderly in Nigeria include challenges of retirement, ageism, and social isolation, among others. Indeed, an aging population poses numerous social and economic challenges, but the right set of policies can equip society to address these challenges in time. Essentially, this bill, 1, provides for the strengthening and protection of the rights of older persons. Underlisted are some of its provisions. Older persons shall have the right to social protection, including income security, without discrimination on the basis of age or gender. Discrimination against older persons on the basis of age is prohibited. Older persons shall have the right to adequate standard of living, including the right to food, water, clothing, housing, and to improve their living conditions without discrimination on the basis of age. Older persons shall have the right to enjoy the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health and long-term care without discrimination on the basis of age, including public health, preventive medicine, palliative care, and rehabilitation. And older persons shall have right to safe and smooth movement on streets, walkways, gatherings, and physical structures free of unreasonable physical contact from other persons. And older persons shall have the right to enjoy preferential sitting positions on taxis, buses, trains, and other means of public transport. Older persons shall be given first consideration in queues and public spaces, and as much as possible should be attended to outside the queue. 2, identifies the peculiar human rights situation of older persons by reason of age, distinct from other population cohorts. On the list, there are some of its provisions. Older persons shall be safeguarded from all situations of risk, including situations of violence, emergencies, and the occurrences of natural disaster. Older persons shall be entitled to social safety nets to cushion the effect of economic shocks, disasters, and calamities. 3, addresses other matters such as systemic and interpersonal prejudice, stereotype, and discrimination against older persons. On the list, there are some of the provisions. The Federal Ministry of Information shall make provision for promotion of orientation and awareness regarding the rights and respect for the inherent dignity of older persons, the capabilities, achievement, and contributions of older persons, respect for individual autonomy, including the freedom of older persons to make individual choices, respect for interdependence and caring relationships of older persons, respect for family relationship and intergenerational solidarity, respect for full and effective participation and inclusion in society, respect for and recognition of older persons as part of human and cultural diversity, respect for aging as an integral and continuous part of life, encouraging their families and the communities they live with to reaffirm the valued Nigerian tradition of caring for older persons. 4, compels all sectors to integrate older persons in development and to ensure age-friendly environment. On the listed are some of the provisions. Older persons shall be included in every national action program on income generation of the state or federal government. Government shall take all necessary steps to protect the rights of older persons while integrating them in all stages of national development. Public buildings shall be constructed and provided with the necessary accessibility and mobility aids, such as lift for multi-level buildings, ramp, wheelchair, automated or manual transportation carriers, and any other facility that shall make such facilities conveniently accessible and usable by older persons. Older persons shall enjoy safe and convenient usage of sidewalks, pedestrian crossing, pedestrian bridges, etc., including those with wheelchairs and the visually impaired. 5, prescribes punitive measures where their rights are denied. On the listed are some of its provisions. Any person who discriminates an older person on the grounds of his age or disability commits an offense and shall be liable on conviction. 2, if the person is a body corporate, a fine of 2 million naira, and an individual a fine of 200,000 or 6 months imprisonment or both. The many social and economic challenges triggered by aging are an emerging issue, and the government needs to table policies that will incorporate the elderly, policies that need to ensure that the elderly will feel valued and connected in his old age. This bill therefore seeks to commit authorities at all levels of government to contribute to a positive and healthy societal change that will benefit the elderly. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I believe this bill is tailored to meet the critical needs and concerns of our elderly in Nigeria today. I therefore humbly urge that we support the second reading of this bill and its legislative proposal. I so submit.